What's up, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube? Boogie the 988 coming at you live once again through the power of the internet. And recently, this last week, a lot of people, as they've noticed, the fact that I have more energy and that I'm looking a little better on camera, or that I've been tweeting about a little bit of the weight I've lost, they've been asking me what I'm consuming, what my food choices are. And I've answered those questions several times on Twitter and elsewhere. And when I do, some people can be very, very critical. And some people are very, very critical of the DDP Yoga food plan and the reasons that DDP chooses to recommend them. I can't speak for DDP, nor will I try today. But here's what I will do. I will tell you what I'm eating, why I'm eating it, and I'll tell you what I'm not eating. Simple. And then I'll answer some of the criticisms a little bit. So first off, I want to tell you that I am avoiding processed foods in their entirety. The more processed it is, the less likely I am to eat it. And I think that's a good choice for anybody. And I think any nutritionist in the world will tell you that food, whole food that you prepare at home is going to be infinitely better. And if you can have the choice between a jar of prepared food that has a list of ingredients that you don't recognize that you have to use Wikipedia to figure out, or you have a jar of the exact same type of food with nothing but whole ingredients that you recognize, it's always going to be healthier to choose the whole ingredients. It's always going to be better to choose the whole natural ingredients most of the time. Any nutritionist in the world will tell you that. And if you find one that won't, fire him because he's a shitty nutritionist. Just saying. I'm also choosing to exclude wheat and dairy from my diet, and not necessarily because I'm afraid of the big gluten monster. I do feel that wheat is not a particularly good crop for humans to consume, and I know we've consumed it for a really long time, but there's a lot of research out there that says it's not the greatest crop for a lot of variety of different reasons. I know for a fact that it's an unnecessary crop of food. I do not have to consume wheat, and therefore I'm choosing not to do it. And my reasons for doing it are very, very simple. It's a heavily processed food that by the time you get it has to be heavily processed, even in its most whole form. Secondly, it's a very high calorie food, one that's very easy to digest. For the most part, most of the time when wheat is served to you, it's very low in fiber and very high in calorie. And it's easy to get the calories and nutrition that you would get from wheat elsewhere. And I'm just choosing to do that. And if it does turn out that it's been causing inflammation in my body or something to that effect, good news, that is also a bonus benefit. But I don't want to consume a heavily processed, low nutrition, high calorie food if I don't have to. It's the exact same reason I'm avoiding dairy. Some people will say that they're avoiding dairy in the DDP yoga lifestyle or elsewhere because what they do to milk, and by the time it's done, they're choosing not to consume it for those reasons. That's a great reason too, because I know that there's some research that says it's not particularly safe to consume the modern dairy we have today. I also know that there's some that don't say that. But at the end of the day, I've never reacted very well to milk. I've always got very snotty. I've had stomach cramps and intestinal cramps. At the end of the day, I just don't need dairy, so I'm avoiding it. Simple choice, right? And what I'm choosing to eat is, for the most part, in a lot of cases, some raw vegetables and some raw fruit. In a few cases, we do prepare meals. Most of the time, we prepare meals. We're choosing, for the most part, whole ingredients, sometimes organic, most of the times organic, sometimes not, to prepare our meals. And we're doing this for a lot of different reasons. Number one, it tastes great. For the first time in my life, I'm not eating Reese's Cups and potato chips every third bite, and I'm happy doing it. I'm enjoying this food. This food tastes good to me. That's an easy reason. Secondly, because these foods tend to be very high in nutrition, and they tend to be free of any chemicals and other bullshit. Simple decision to only consume the food and not a bunch of stuff with it. Most nutritionists in the world will tell you that that's the right decision. And if you find a nutritionist that won't, he's a dumbass. Get a new nutritionist. Very simple answer there. And at the end of the day, my reasons for consuming these foods may be different from a lot of people that are choosing this exact same diet or this exact same food plan. And you know what? That's fine. At the end of the day, it's a good food plan. And it's making me feel good. And I'm losing weight and I'm building muscle and I'm enjoying the food. And I know that it's worked for Diamond Dallas Page, and I know it's worked for dozens and dozens of people like Arthur, like my friend Slim, like DJ, all of these great people who have really, really seen the results by making these food choices. And I personally am down a few pounds. I feel energetic. I look good. I feel great. I'm building muscle. I'm able to do my exercise. It's a win-win-win. And if you're critical of that, If you're critical of Diamond Dallas Page for figuring out a diet that works, regardless of his reasons, and for passing on that diet to other people, regardless of the reasons they agree to do it, but it's saving lives. If you're criticizing that, you're kind of being an asshole. I'm just saying. And one last thing, when it comes to genetically modified organisms, GMO crops like BT corn and things along that lines, I don't necessarily swallow all the hocus pocus, but I do know enough, and I know enough scientists and enough people that say that the word is not 100% definitive in either direction. That statistically, probably genetically modified organisms are not going to kill you. And if you consume them for a really long time, you'll probably be okay. But at the end of the day, I choose not to consume GMOs because I don't want to support the company Monsanto. And the reason I'm choosing not to support the company Monsanto is for the same reason I would not sign a new contract with Verizon or Comcast tomorrow. Because Verizon and Comcast are companies that are doing their best to destroy the internet right now. And Monsanto is doing their best to destroy the food industry right now. And if I can choose to go to my local co-op and choose foods that are grown by local farmers and that taste good and feels good, and I'm keeping the money in the local economy, and I'm supporting small business, and I'm not supporting the big bag juggernaut that is Monsanto, that is a great fucking choice. And if it saves my life in the process, that's a win-win. And if you're being critical about that, you're kind of being an asshole.